Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Books and Bytes. Today, today we're diving deep into one of those books everyone says they've read.
Right.
But
Yeah.
let's just say a little spark notes help never hurt anyone.
Yeah.
Get ready to explore Dante's Inferno
Okay.
and the rest of his epic poem, The Divine Comedy.
And what a journey it is.
Oh yeah.
The Divine Comedy is considered one of the greatest works of literature ever written.
Wow.
Not bad for a poem written over 700 years ago.
Okay, so I'm already picturing fire and brimstone, tortured souls, maybe a three-headed dog.
Right?
I mean, how much can you really say about hell that's new?
Well, that's the thing about Dante.
Right.
He doesn't just give us fire and brimstone. He gives us a meticulously crafted underworld, each layer reflecting a different shade of human sin.
Okay.
And it's not just about punishment, it's about the struggle for redemption, the journey of the soul toward God.
Right.
We see that journey unfold across all three books, from the depths of Inferno to the heights of Paradiso.
Okay, see, now that's the kind of insight I need. So before we descend into this literary underworld, can you give us the quick tour?
Sure.
What are the major themes we're going to encounter?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Divine Comedy is a complex work, but some central themes tie it all together.
Okay.
First, it's an exploration of justice, both divine and human.
Right.
Dante believed in a moral universe where sin has consequences.
Yeah.
But he also grappled with questions of mercy, forgiveness, and the possibility of redemption, which become especially prominent as we move through Purgatorio and into Paradiso.
That makes sense. He wasn't just writing a horror story. He was trying to understand the human condition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this brings us to another key theme.
Okay.
Free will versus determinism.
Right.
Dante believed we have the choice to follow a path of righteousness or stray into sin.
Okay.
This is a choice faced by many characters throughout the poem.
Right.
Then, of course, there's the theme of love.
Okay.
Romantic love, divine love, and even the distorted love that leads to sin. It's a powerful force that drives much of the narrative.
I am already hooked, and we haven't even left the starting line.
Yeah.
So let's get going. Where does our journey begin?
Well, it begins, as you might imagine, in Inferno.
Okay.
Dante, lost in a dark wood, a metaphor for his own spiritual crisis, encounters the Roman poet Virgil, who becomes his guide through hell.
Virgil.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a pagan poet?
Yeah.
That seems like a risky choice for a spiritual guide.
It's a deliberate choice by Dante. Remember, he was writing for an audience steeped in both classical and Christian traditions.
Okay.
Virgil represents human reason the best that human intellect can offer.
Okay.
However, as we'll see, reason alone isn't enough to achieve true salvation.
Okay, I see. So Dante's setting the stage for the limits of human understanding.
Right.
Where do these two unlikely companions end up first?
They find themselves at the gates of hell, inscribed with the famous line, "Abandon all hope ye who enter here."
Yeah.
Chillin', right?
Yikes. Talk about a warning label.
Yeah.
You're definitely not getting a refund once you pass those gates.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And as they pass through, they descend into the first circle of hell limbo.
Yeah, great.
Now, limbo is an interesting place.
Okay.
It's not about active torment.
Right.
It's a place of yearning for those who lived virtuous lives, but were never baptized or lived before the time of Christ.
So it's less about fire and brimstone and more about eternal longing.
Right.
Who do they meet there?
Dante encounters a fascinating mix of souls here. Virtuous pagans like Virgil himself, as well as great philosophers and poets like Homer, Socrates, and Plato.
Wow. So even in hell, Dante gets to hang out with his literary heroes.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
It speaks to his deep respect for classical learning.
Okay.
However, even in this relatively peaceful circle, there's a sense of melancholy, a longing for the divine light that they can never fully attain.
Okay, so we're already seeing some of those themes you mentioned.
Right.
Justice, the role of reason, the yearning for something more.
Exactly.
Yeah. What awaits Dante and Virgil as they move deeper into the underworld?
Well, this is where the real fun begins.
Okay.
The second circle is where we encounter the first pangs of true punishment.
Okay.
Here, the lustful are eternally blown about by a fierce whirlwind, a symbol of their uncontrolled passions in life.
Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff.
Right.
And I'm guessing it just gets worse from here.
Oh, you have no idea. Dante's imagination when it came to punishment was truly vivid.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember it's not just about gratuitous torture.
Right.
Each punishment is a symbolic representation of the sin itself.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've had a taste of eternal longing and a whirlwind of passion.
Right.
What other delightful torments await as we delve deeper into Dante's imagination?
Well, buckle up.
Okay.
Because things are about to get a lot more visceral.
Okay.
In the third circle, we meet the gluttons.
Yeah.
Imagine being eternally pelted by icy rain and filthy slush, forced to wallow in a disgusting bog. That's Dante's vision of gluttony's consequence, a fittingly grotesque end for those who overindulged in life's pleasures.
Ugh, it sounds repulsive. It makes you want to rethink that second helping of dessert.
Precisely. Dante wants us to feel the weight of these sins,
Right.
to understand them not as abstract concepts, but as experiences with very real and unpleasant consequences.
That's about more than just scaring people straight.
Right.
He's trying to make us feel the error of our ways.
Exactly.
Where do we go from the land of indigestion?
We descend into the fourth circle, where the hoarders and the wasters are locked in an eternal, futile struggle.
Oh, right. This is the one I've heard about. They're constantly pushing giant weights up a hill, only to have them roll back down right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a powerful image of the futility of material obsession.
Right.
These souls spent their lives consumed by possessions, either hoarding them greedily or squandering them recklessly.
Yeah.
Now they're trapped in an endless cycle of pointless effort, their sins literally weighing them down.
It's such a brilliant image. So relevant, even today, when we're constantly bombarded with messages about acquiring more stuff.
Absolutely. Dante's showing us that true wealth isn't measured in possessions, but in spiritual riches.
Okay, so we're starting to see a pattern here.
Right.
Each circle, each punishment is a reflection of the sin itself.
Yeah.
What fresh hell awaits in the fifth circle?
The fifth circle is where we encounter the river Styx, a stagnant, murky swamp where the wrathful and sullen reside. Imagine being submerged in that foul water forever, choking on your own rage or sinking into a mire of despair.
Right.
That's the fate of those who let anger and resentment rule their lives.
It's like they're drowning in their own negativity.
Yeah.
And I remember you mentioned that even our emotions can be a source of torment in Dante's hell.
Precisely.
Wow.
Dante understood that our inner lives, our thoughts and feelings have consequences just as real as our outward actions.
So it's not just about what we do, but about who we are.
Exactly.
What happens when we cross the river Styx? Do things get any less moist?
Things are about to heat up, actually.
Oh, really?
We've reached the sixth circle, the fiery city of Distasy, where heretics are punished.
Heretics.
Yeah.
So we've moved on from personal vices to those who challenge the very foundations of faith.
Exactly.
Okay.
Remember, Dante was a man of his time.
Right.
He believed that rejecting God's truth wasn't just a philosophical difference. It was a dangerous act of rebellion.
And rebellion, especially against divine authority, has consequences.
Right.
What form does the punishment take in this fiery metropolis?
Picture a vast graveyard. But instead of peaceful tombs, there are open sepulchres engulfed in flames.
Okay.
The heretics are trapped within their souls, burning for eternity.
That's a pretty clear message. Believe or burn.
Right.
So heretics are literally feeling the heat.
Yeah.
What awaits in the seventh circle?
The seventh circle is a bit more complicated. It's
Okay.
actually divided into 3 rings, each dedicated to a different type of violence.
Okay, we've had wind, we've had rain, we've had fire.
Right.
What kind of violence are we talking about here?
In the first ring, the violent against others, murderers, tyrants, warmongers are submerged in a boiling river of blood, the Phlegethon.
Oh, wow.
Their violence in life is mirrored in the eternal torment of blood and fire.
A river of blood. That's a gruesome image, even for Dante.
Right.
What about the next ring?
The second ring is dedicated to the violent against themselves, suicides.
That's particularly tragic.
Yeah.
How does Dante even punish those who have already taken their own lives?
He transforms them into gnarled, twisted trees.
Wow.
They are denied their human form, their bodies forever trapped in a state of pain and distortion.
Right.
Their only solace is that harpies, monstrous creatures that represent their despair nest in their branches.
Oh. Wow. So even in death, there is no escape from the consequences of their actions.
Right.
We are those who are violent against God. They sound like they belong in Dante's Inferno.
Right.
Where are they?
In the third ring, a desolate plain of burning sand where blasphemers, sodomites, and usurers are tormented. Dante considered these sins a kind of violence against God's creation, against the natural order.
That burning sand, the relentless rain of fire, it sounds utterly unbearable.
Yeah.
And there's still more to come. 2 more circles of hell.
Yes, the 8th and 9th circle await, but we'll save those for our next descent.
Oh, you know how to leave a listener hanging. We've journeyed through fire and flood, met gluttons and heretics, and witnessed the terrible fates of the wrathful and the violent.
Right.
What could possibly top this? Join us next time as we complete our exploration of Dante's Inferno and uncover the final depths of his vision of hell. Welcome back to our descent into Dante's Inferno. I have to admit, after the rivers of blood and burning sand,
Right.
a part of me is ready for a little fresh air, even if it's just the metaphorical kind.
Well, don't hold your breath just yet.
Okay.
We're about to enter the final two circles of hell where the truly cunning and treacherous meet their doom.
Oh, right. We're talking about fraud and treachery.
Right.
Sins that even I know are bad news.
Yeah.
What makes these circles so uniquely awful?
Yeah. In a way, these sins are the coldest and most calculating. If the earlier circles were about giving in to passion or rage, these are about the deliberate misuse of intellect and trust.
Okay.
Dante considered them the worst because they corrupted the very things that made us human,
Wow.
our ability to reason and to form bonds with each other.
Okay, that's pretty chilling. I get why these are in the VIP section of hell.
Right.
Just give it to me straight. What fresh hell is the eighth circle?
The eighth circle is Malabulge, a truly nightmarish landscape.
Okay.
Imagine a vast funnel-shaped pit, its sides carved into 10 concentric ditches, each one swarming with sinners and demons.
10 ditches. Dante was really going for the high score on this one.
Right. Each ditch, or bolgia, as Dante calls them,
Right.
houses a different category fraudsters.
Oh, wow.
There are seducers driven eternally by whips, their false words now turned to lashes.
Oh, man.
Hypocrites wear heavy lead cloaks, the weight of their hypocrisy crushing them for eternity.
It's amazing how Dante takes these abstract concepts, like hypocrisy, and turns them into such visceral punishments.
Right. It's like he's saying, you want to play games with truth and trust. This is what it feels like to carry the weight of those choices.
So if that's the eighth circle, what's left for the ninth? What could be worse than Malbulge?
The ninth and final circle is Cocytus, a frozen lake, where those guilty of treachery are imprisoned in ice.
Ice. So we go from fire and brimstone to a deep freeze?
Yeah.
What's the thinking there?
Remember what we said about fraud and treachery being cold sins?
Right.
Well, Cocytus is the ultimate expression of that coldness, a place of complete emotional and spiritual isolation.
Makes sense. Betrayal cuts deep.
Yeah.
And there's something particularly unforgiving about ice.
Right.
Who are some of the unfortunate souls stuck in Dante's freezer?
This is where we find the ultimate betrayers, those who violated the most sacred bonds of trust.
Right.
There's Judas Iscariot frozen in the ice for betraying Christ. And Brutus and Cassius, who conspired to assassinate Julius Caesar, are here to their sin, a betrayal of loyalty and friendship.
Talk about your awkward family reunion.
Right.
And at the very bottom of this frozen wasteland, we find Satan himself.
You got it. Dante depicts Satan as a monstrous three-headed beast trapped waist-deep in ice.
Oh, wow.
Each mouth chews eternally on one of the ultimate betrayers, Judas, Brutus, and Cassius.
Yikes. It's one thing to be frozen in ice for all eternity, but being Satan's chew toy, that's a whole other level of awful.
Right.
So that's it, the grand finale, the bottom of the pit of hell.
Not quite. Remember, this is just the Inferno, the first part of Dante's Divine Comedy.
Oh, right.
There's still Purgatory and Paradise to explore.
Right.
And even in this final, horrifying image of Satan, there's a glimmer of hope.
Hope. Where on earth, or rather in hell, do you see hope in that image?
Well, Dante doesn't describe Satan as triumphant. He's frozen, immobile, his power ultimately limited.
Okay.
And Dante and Virgil use Satan himself as a bridge to escape hell, climbing down his hairy hide to reach the other side.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So even in the darkest depths, even with the devil himself, there's a way out.
Right.
There's a path towards something better.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And that, I think, is a key takeaway from the Inferno. It's a terrifying vision of sin and its consequences, yes, but it's also a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Even when we're lost, even when we've made terrible mistakes, there's always a glimmer of hope, a chance for redemption.
That's a powerful message. And I have to say, this whole journey through Dante's Inferno has been an eye-opener.
Yeah.
It's made me think about the choices we make, the consequences of our actions, and the possibility of finding our way back from even the darkest places.
Exactly. And that's the power of great literature, isn't it? It challenges us, it makes us uncomfortable, but it also reminds us of our shared humanity and the enduring power of hope.
Well said. So, listeners, if you're up for a literary adventure that will stay with you long after you finish reading, pick up a copy of Dante's Divine Comedy.
It's a good one.
And join us next time for another deep dive into the world of ideas.